everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books, and today I have my February video for the Reading the French Classics. So what I've been doing is picking a book from my Reading the French Classics pile, and I will link that video down below, and reviewing one of the books in that list every month. So for the month of February, I read The Lover by Marguerite Duras. Duras has become one of my favorite writers of all time. Everything I read of hers touches me at an emotional, at an intellectual level, and that's like the most I can ask any writer, any book. So what is this one about? The story of The Lover, as you can tell, is very short. I read this in one day. It follows a 17-year-old girl and the relationship she has with an older Chinese man in Vietnam. So there's lots and lots to unpack here. So first off is the narrative style. Marguerite Duras does not write in a linear style. Like, she's not giving you the story chronologically. What she gives you is bits and pieces of the story, snippets, little like shortcuts of the story. And that's actually like really close to the way that Hiroshima, Mon Amour was shot. So if you haven't seen the movie Hiroshima, Mon Amour, I highly recommend it. It is written by Marguerite Duras, and it is the love story between a French woman and a Japanese man at the end of World War II. It's amazing, and this book has a similar narrative style, of like you're getting different shots and windows into the story, and they're not in chronological order. So if you don't like that kind of narrative style, then this is not going to be the book for you. However, if you do like it, this is a magnificent example of how well that style can work to tell the story. So it's also highly poetic. Like as soon as I started reading it, I was like, oof, okay, I'm in for an emotional ride. And I think that's what this style allows Duras to do, is to really take you through the emotional journey of the main character and like really feel what those characters are feeling. And that is why I really love her as a writer. One of the main themes here is, of course, sexuality. The 17-year-old girl is having a sexual relationship with the older Chinese man. And it is kind of her discovering her sexuality and discovering it in a context that is very specific, of being with an older man of a different race, of like people don't approve of this relationship and they see something wrong with it. At the same time, she's getting something out of this relationship. She has access to his wealth by engaging in this sexual relationship, and both of them know that this is a finite relationship. It's not going to be forever. And so it's an interesting setting, but again, because you're dealing with a huge age gap, I know it's not going to be for every reader. The other thing is that the relationship is not romanticized, the sex is not romanticized, and I appreciate it. That's part of what allowed me to deal with the age gap between the characters, is that because we're getting it from Duras' point of view, the female character isn't in love with the Chinese man. In addition, we don't get the names of the main character. The book is semi-autobiographical. It's set in Vietnam, and Marguerite Duras, in fact, lived in Vietnam while it was a French colony, before returning to France, and so that is a big part of the story. Race is therefore really important as well. The fact that this is an interracial sexual relationship that people know about, the fact that the man is not Vietnamese, he's Chinese, and that he's wealthy also presents layers of problems in the society. One of the things that the introduction to the story pointed out, and that I think is very true, is that Marguerite Duras, the way she talks about Asian men, both talking about the Chinese man here and about the Japanese man in Hiroshima, Mon Amour, like, she doesn't other these Asian men. Like, they are whole beings as much as they were to the character in the story. And they're not exoticized. They are sexual beings who are capable of arousing sexual want, and it's handled really, really well there. So she does not other these Asian men, which is really important. Class plays an important role here. Marguerite Duras, well, the main character in The Lover, is not a wealthy woman. She's a poor French girl from a poor family in colonial Vietnam, and although she's coming from the colonizer country, she does not have wealth. That still places her in a hierarchy above the Vietnamese, but in terms of like actual physical wealth, right, the Chinese man is the one providing her with access to that, and that is a big deal for like her, for him, for everybody involved in the story. Gender also plays an important role. Duras is really honest about what the main character is going through as a young girl, becoming a woman, and with that transformation, how she is sexualized by the outside world, how her sexuality is developing, and gender is a big part of that. And kind of exploring her sexuality within this colonial context. This is a really magnificent story. If you are okay with the narrative style and with the age gap, I really, really encourage you to pick it up. If you've had it on your TBR for a while, please pick it up. Now, if you're thinking about reading Duras, this is a great place to start, but I would actually direct people more towards maybe one of her other works. Hiroshima, amour is a movie. She wrote the script for it, and I think if you can handle that narrative style on film, you'll be able to handle it in print as well. In addition, her other book, I've read one of her other books, it's The War, a memoir. That one, I think it's a little bit easier for people who don't necessarily like this narrative style or who are interested in it but haven't read a lot of books in this style, because it's more of like short stories, all set during World War II in France. Now, they're a little bit easier to get into because you get more chunks of them, as opposed to in this book where like she's sometimes giving you really short paragraphs taking place in a specific time and place, and then she'll cut to a different paragraph, totally different time, right, or place in the story. And I think that can be confusing for a lot of readers. I've had students read The War, and some students still told me that that was confusing, but I was able to like hopefully guide them through that one, and I think that one's a little bit easier to handle in this kind of narrative than The Lover. And yet The Lover is exquisite. It's an exquisite story, and yeah, that's what I left after reading this. I was like, there's no more if or but about it. She is one of my favorite authors. So there you go. This was a great read for me, and now I can check it off of reading the French classics. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.